Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 557 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube. As always, whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording, you are very, very welcome. We have got at least 2 people watching the live. First comment today goes to Perfumes by the Sea, who says, evening scent of the day is Orpheon by Diptyque. Big hit for that brand, I think. I seem to remember being a little bit mixed about it. I'm pretty sure I reviewed it, but anyway, it seems to be doing extremely well. Alex is here too, saying hello Mr. P and hello to everyone. Greetings from Austria. I'm wearing Delicious Dali by Salvador Dali. Natalie is here as well, so is David. Hello. Joseph says good evening, scent of the day, Neroli Portofino Parfum. We might be mentioning, well, we are probably going to be mentioning Neroli Portofino tangentially in a few minutes. Okay, usual bits and bobs. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, because that is genuinely very, very helpful. If you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page and also to my Substack in the video description below. I also need to tell you, for the benefit of those of you watching live, that the plan for today is to do 2 showcase reviews. Ooh, EB says, had my final exam last night, so I'm still in bed today. Fingers crossed you did well. How do you think it went? Do you want to share, or do you want rather not talk about it? We are going to be doing 2 showcases. The first one is going to be shorter because there are only 4 perfumes to talk about. Very, very interesting brand, and I think we should get straight into it. Fabulous fragrances, says Rachel. Please let me know what you think of them if you have already tried them. Okay, so the brand in question is called Spoturno. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. What makes it interesting, and I'm sure a lot of you know this already, but what makes it interesting is that Spoturno is the real surname of the man who is better known to you and me. Sorry, I'm just arranging things here because I hadn't properly pre-prepared my pre-sprayed blotters, but I've got them now. Spoturno is the surname of the man that most of us know better as François Coty, as in the guy who almost single-handedly redefined perfumery and played a huge part in making it what it is today. And if I get any of this stuff wrong, by the way, any of this information, please feel free to correct me. Rachel says, I have, but I'm writing a review right now. Ooh, interesting. So is that going to be for... Well, I don't want to preempt, because I think I know who you write for, but I don't want to get it wrong. So feel free to give us a plug. Where are your reviews going to be published, Rachel? Sandra says, I need to sell a kidney to get that Spoturno 1921 X-Ray. I know, it's pricey. The €1,000 plus limited edition bottle is an amazing work of art and craftsmanship. So, François Coty's great-granddaughter, Véronique Spoturno, founded this brand, I think in 2018, 2019. The initial scent that they released was an X-ray form of this scent called Spoturno 1921, which they say is inspired by one of François Coty's original formulas. And now, this year, we've got 4 eaux de parfum, including an EDP of Spoturno 1921 and 3 new creations. And the other thing that makes all of this interesting is that all 4 of these have been created by Christopher Sheldrake. And if you don't know who Christopher Sheldrake is, you should. He has created pretty much every single perfume for Serge Lutens, and he has got a very, very important role at Chanel, and played a significant part in bringing us Chanel's Exclusive. And he every now and then composes for other brands. For Roberto Greco a couple of years ago, he made the amazing Roc. So, truly brilliant genius perfumer. Exabi says, interesting, the X-Ray came out before the EDP. It's usually the other way around. Not in Coty's day it wasn't, because I think, well, there was no such thing as an EDP in Coty's day, right? The EDP is a sort of 1980s invention. Back in the day, you'd have the X-ray and or the EDT, but usually it was the X-ray that came out first. Now, what's fascinating, the other thing that's fascinating, lots and lots of fascinating things, and I promise we will get on to smelling all four of these perfumes, is that if you look at the Spoturno website, you will struggle to find the name Coty. At least I haven't been able to find it, and certainly not spelt C-O-T-Y, because apparently François Coty originally, the C-O-T-I I think was his mother's surname, but then when he decided to take it, he spelt it C-O-T-Y. And reading between the lines, I would imagine that the folks behind Spoturno are being very, very careful to not ruffle any feathers and to not attract any unwanted legal attention that might come their way from Coty, you know, the huge multinational conglomerate. And so they're being... they've gone as far as they can in saying that this is a kind of Coty brand without actually saying this is a Coty brand. So that is all fascinating too. And I think we should get smelling. I've pre-smelt them. I'm not going to read the blurb for every single one. I think what I might do, well, let's start with the one which is very, very pleasant, but perhaps doesn't reinvent the wheel. Where have we got that one? Okay, so I'm going to start with Alphee. See that one there? Okay. If I can actually open the little sample. Carl Anderson says the important thing is the juice, that's all that matters. Well, yes, I completely agree with you. Gavin, these are Christopher Sheldrake perfumes. They are indeed, Gavin, and you're very welcome. So here we go. This is Alphee. Okay, off we go with our first Spoturno. Don't you fall over now. Right, so this is... taking us back to what I said about mentioning Neroli Portofino, Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino. This is a really, really extremely well done, very, very convincing, very invigorating, bracing, citrusy cologne with a kind of floral jasmine twist. Not that long ago, I was catching up with some old friends, and the subject of Neroli Portofino came up. And this particular friend, who does like his perfumes and knows what he enjoys, said that one of the reasons he enjoys wearing Neroli Portofino is because it reminds him of what 4711, 4711 used to be back in the day. I mean, 4711 isn't quite as gorgeous and bracing and realistic and, you know, photoreal as it used to be, but Neroli Portofino certainly has that kind of feel. And I think Alphee certainly goes into that same territory, but the point of difference here is that it's got a stronger floral twist. It's extremely well done, but maybe I should save the but, because I think there is a but with this brand as far as I'm concerned. And I'd like to know what you think, whether you agree or not, if you've tried the scents. What are you folks saying? Because I'm really, really curious to hear from people who've actually tried these. But so far... Oh, Tool says, does he enjoy the price of Neroli Portofino as well, this friend? No, I don't think he does, but I think he's happy to pay because he likes the perfume that much. Is the jasmine indolic, says RN? No. There is absolutely nothing indolic about this at all. It is... You know, if somebody walked past you wearing this, you would think that they're wearing a very, very high quality, light, fleeting cologne. Should we do, I think I'll do the pre-sprayed blotters after I've done the first three. What do they say about it? Let me just tell you here. So they say that Alpheus in mythology means guide, and Alphee Dubois was a medal engraver, Grand Prix de Rome winner, and spiritual father of Spoturno. And so as a tribute to Alphee Dubois, This fragrance evokes the happy years expressed in the memory of a cruise along the rocky coasts of Corsica towards the archipelago of the Sanguinaire Islands. François Coty, of course, was Corsican. And I'm guessing this is a quote from Christopher Sheldrake himself. He says, "When Veronique told me about Alphee, an influential and historic member of her family, I was immediately transported into the imagination of a poem that has nothing to do with the man, but that I adore, Kubla Khan by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and which begins with the following verse, in Xanadu, Kubla Khan, a majestic pleasure dome decreed." Well, the version that I've read doesn't go quite like that, but anyway. "I wanted to recreate the atmosphere of the Alphee River water, a fresh, mineral and magical water with oriental citrus fruits and amber. Then I wanted this water to have reflections of Corsica, which I imagined with touches of myrtle leaves and juniper berries. The mineral side is brought by the myrtle leaves and ambrofix, a molecule produced from clary sage that scents of smells of amber and mineral. Alphee is a refreshing mineral fragrance, etc., etc., etc." And Carl says, yes, this is like a fresh, quiet luxury scent. It's nice, but not the best out of them. No, I would agree. And also, for the price that they are, I think I'd be thinking, okay, you haven't given me that last little bit of unknowability, that last little bit of drama that I was seeking. Let's move on. We'll do my least favourite next. And I don't know why. I think I really like the name. It's called L'âme du Phenix, so the soul of the Phoenix. And this is a really interesting one coming from Sheldrake, because Christopher Sheldrake obviously has been around. I mean, I don't think anybody would mind my saying that he's no spring chicken. But he really has been involved in some of the most important perfumes that have been created since the 80s. So he knows his stuff, and he knows retro codes really, really well. But he also, in all of his creations, usually manages to produce work that feels quite modern, feels quite relevant. This one, the Soul of the Phoenix, I keep being struck every single time I smell it, but by how it's retro, butch, hairy-chested masculine in a way that I find it a bit disappointing. I think it doesn't leave behind some of the sweatier, more boorish elements of those sorts of codes. I mean, it's not Kouros, and perhaps I shouldn't be comparing it to Kouros because I love Kouros anyway. I mean, Kouros is completely in a kind of category of its own anyway. But if you think of some of those scents from the 80s that raise a chuckle when you smell them now, and you think, oh gosh, but thank goodness people aren't wearing those sorts of things anymore. This one is heading in that direction, and I think is something to do with its patchouli. I could have done with its patchouli being maybe a bit more gender fluid, maybe a bit less aggressive, maybe a bit less sweaty. It is quite a sweaty sort of patchouli. Sandra says, I found most of the perfumes really good, but nothing groundbreaking. 1921 Extrait was my favourite because of the amazing citruses in the opening. The scent has something of Shalimar and Chanel Le Lion. We're going to come on to Spoturno 1921. And the Extrait is bloody pricey, says Sandra, €520. It is too much, to be honest, but the citruses are amazing. Carl Anderson says, it's Sheldrake's take on a modern masculine almost, this one. A shame it's so close to Sauvage Elixir, maybe a little better. RN says, I feel like Christopher Sheldrake doesn't get the recognition he deserves because my nose is convinced that he made Coromandel, even though he is not credited. And Gavin says, the notes list for this one reads like Chanel Allure pour Homme. It's definitely got that kind of feel. It's got that kind of slightly too masculine sort of feel to it. What do they say? They say that they have gone for the Soul of the Phoenix because the mythical bird appears on the Spoturno family coat of arms. Christopher Sheldrake says, a fragrance born from the idea of contemporary richness rising from the ashes of a legend. A flame that becomes an emotion to be shared, sensual and warm. I wanted to compose a deliberately masculine aromatic woody note on an ashy base. I mean, he's certainly done that. A truly virile note, intense and deep, where rich dry woods create a certain elegance combined with leathery and smoky notes on a warm amber spicy base of patchouli, labdanum, ginger and cinnamon. So yeah, that's the one that I'm least certain about. Well, actually, no, I am certain. It is my least favourite. And then let us move on to, and I have no idea how you say this, whether it's Barbicaja or Barbicaja. I'm guessing it's not going to be like a kind of Spanish Barbicaja. I have no idea. But let us have a spray. There's an element of this one that I find really, really interesting. Alex says, where can you buy these scents? I don't find a shop beside the website. Oh, really? Doesn't the web... I mean, I ordered this discovery set from the website. Oh, and David says, go with the Spanish pronunciation. Okay. Maybe you know something we don't. Alex, I'm sorry I can't help you, but maybe you should drop them an email and see if they reply. So this is the Barbicaja. Sounds a bit too much like barbecue when you say it that way, doesn't it? This opens green, very, very galbanum green, very, very beautifully galbanum-y green. But what it does, and I think it's the inclusion of the neroli. The neroli reminded me of something that I haven't been reminded of for a very long time. Those very, very, very basic colognes that you used to find at pretty much all barbershops. It's like all barbershops went to the same place to buy this cologne stuff, whether they were barbershops in Poland, where I sometimes used to have my hair cut, or Iran, or Dubai. I mean, it was bizarre. They all smelt the same. And this has got just a touch of that. It is not a barbershop cologne, but that neroli seems to bring that feel to it. It's very, very nicely done, and with the green, it's interesting. But again, and I think this is the but. I think now is, you know, a good time to bring the but into the proceedings. There's something about these that feels maybe just a touch too stately, just a touch too static, like they're almost a little bit too in thrall to their heritage and their history, and they just want to be so respectful that they lose out on the attractiveness and the intrigue that you can bring when you're a little bit disrespectful and a bit disruptive in, you know, in a truly genuine way, if you see what I mean. Carl says, Barbicaja was full bottle worthy for me. Interesting. Hints of Roque and Bel Respiro, more fresh than those for sure, and perfect for this time of year. Interesting. Rachel Grigg says, ooh, have to share, just received Ipona and Eom by Aura today. Okay, well, enjoy those. The containers are so beautiful, says Alex, and remind me of the antique Coty bottles. And David says, does it remind you of Cristal from Chanel? I didn't think that. I didn't think that, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, maybe there is a hint of that kind of Cristal crispness. What do they say? Well, since you ask, I will tell you. They say that this is the name of the Spoturno family estate, originally from northern Italy, settled in Corsica at the beginning of the 16th century. And what does Mr. Sheldrake say? He says, during the Belle Epoque, Barbicaja was a renowned spot on the Ajaccio coastline, coveted by anyone who had ever been to the Riviera. Known for its beauty, it was a destination for European high society. It was here, along the Route des Sanguinaires, that François Spoturno bought the Barbicaja property, which had been in his family for several decades. When Veronique shared this family memory with me, I had the idea of a carefree, happy scent revealing a sea breeze scented with orange blossom and jasmine with a fruity apricot facet. Not sure I get all of those sorts of things. So before we get on to the last one, which is the best one, but is the one that, you know, has got kind of like our name written all over it, let's do the pre-sprayed blotches. So this is pre-sprayed Alphee. Yeah, so as you would expect from a gently floral cologne, it's sort of settled onto an undemanding, innocuous, perfectly inoffensive base of musks. But again, it's not. There's nothing that make me go, oh, you know, I need this. I need this right now. I'm afraid. Then the one that I'm not so keen on, the soul of the Phenix. Yeah, this becomes even more late 70s, early 80s masculine, shades of a Dracar Noir, that kind of thing. It's an odd choice for me. It's an odd aesthetic to go for, unless they've decided that the particular crowd they are targeting will enjoy this sort of thing. And the one we've just smelled, the Barbicaja, very, very attractive, and maybe actually more Cristal-like now. A kind of, I suppose it is a green chypre. I guess it is a green chypre with a sort of narrowly feel to it. So that's probably my second favourite. And now to the one that, if you were working for a large company like Estee Lauder, you would say that this is their hero product. This is Spoturno 1921. You can't see that there, can you? Is that better? Oh, well, yeah, I've just told you what it's called. It becomes a chypre, says Pradeep. Can things become a chypre? I mean, I think if it becomes a chypre, that means it is a chypre, right? Cheap Imitation says, glad to hear they aren't all that mind-blowing. I want to try them, but I'm done spending nearly $100 just to sample a house. But this one, if you can get a sample of this one and the Barbicaja, I would say they are worth seeking out. So this is when you start getting into orgiastic retro heaven. But and it feels like it was very, very recently that I was talking about this. I do wonder if sometimes we shouldn't get overexcited by things just because they're retro. Although this is retro in the best possible way. Somebody's already mentioned Chanel's Le Lion, which is it is gloriously, stupendously retro, but it is also firmly 21st century. You could wear it right now, and I don't think anybody would think that you were wearing something from 100 years ago. And this is very much like that. Alex says, I read somewhere that 1921 is a nod to original Emeraude. Wouldn't surprise me. And David is insisting that we say Barbicaja. Okay, we'll go with that. I'll have to ask somebody. Maybe, have you been there? You probably know for a fact then. This is, first of all, it's beautifully abstract. But I guess things that come to the forefront are a kind of bergamotti top note, really, really dry birch tar leather. If you've got shades of Emeraude, then you've also got shades of Shalimar, of course. Ambery base, and it's just pure sophistication. It makes you want to go to a kind of 1920s party, 1920s costume party. Not that I've ever been to one, but if I did ever go to one, I would want the party to smell of this. It's the whole long cigarette holder things and those very, very 1920s type straight cut dresses. Somebody will tell me the correct technical term for them. Pradeep says the Extrait was released for the 100th anniversary of Emeraude without actually saying so. Interesting. Gavin says Persolaise wants to dance the tango. Yes, I do. This makes me want to dance the tango. It is beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. So what do they tell us about it? By the way, in case you're wondering, these are all roughly about £230 for 60 mils of EDP. The Spoturno 1921 is £260 for the 60 mils. They call it the very essence of femininity in perfect harmony. Sheldrake says, I imagined a retro modern fragrance. A perfect blend of yesterday and today, which is embodied in this sumptuous floral bouquet composed of jasmine, rose, ylang ylang and orange blossom, simply set with some of the most precious raw materials in perfumery, such as bergamot, sandalwood, vetiver, tonka beans, vanilla, like a myriad of nuances. And that it certainly is. It's really nicely done. And pre-sprayed 1921. Yeah, it's just got one of those gorgeous dry downs where you really feel what I would imagine is a good quality, genuine sandalwood. The vetiver isn't overdone. The musks aren't overdone. It's pretty heavenly. It is pretty heavenly. Oh, Pradeep tells us that it's for the top Parisian crowd. Okay. And Alex says, I'm already totally broke because of this hobby. Because of the hubby? Maybe you're broke because of the hubby as well. I don't know. Spend wisely, people. You don't have to have everything. We don't have to have everything. Let us also learn to enjoy the things we already have, right? A flapper. Thank you very much. A flapper outfit. Thank you. This is the good one. This is the good one. Okay, so there we are. The next showcase is going to take a little bit longer because... Oh, Sandra says, I'm curious, did you try 1921 Extrait? I didn't. And I was going to say, if I have, I've forgotten, but I kind of think I probably wouldn't have forgotten. So no, I never did. I never did. Maybe I will one day. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. For those of you who are here for the live, stick around because in a couple of minutes we will be back with another showcase. But thanks very much for watching this one. See you in a bit. Bye now.